Greetings and salutations, and welcome to another episode of the KittyFoxCast. And I am back from Megaplex 2023. I'm back. I have been back home for about 2 days, and it has been the most chaotic 2 days probably in a long time. And I will get into that in a minute. But first, I want to thank a very special guest that I have with me. You all can't see him at the moment, but Archibald, Archie is home. Yes, the orange boy, the fluffy, sometimes seemingly anthropomorphic and very fat personality cat of mine, Archibald, is back home. He has returned home as of the last hour. So, yeah, I will get into that as well. But I'm back after 5 days in the sunny state of Florida for Megaplex 2023, and it was quite a ride. So, I'm not going to stall anymore. I will get into what happened. So, basically, it all started on Wednesday night. It was actually there's a few things that happened that I want to point out my own insanity for, and that is the main one being that I went and saw a concert Wednesday night. And I know what you're thinking, Samson, who goes to a concert right before they go to a convention? Well, that would be me. Allow me to explain. You also may be asking, who did you see? Well, I saw somebody for the first time that I have not ever seen, and that I have been waiting somewhere. Excuse me, I already got the hiccups. This is not good for an audio podcast. Excuse me. Okay, excuse me. Hold on. I'm gonna get some. Where? Oh, there it is. I'm gonna get some hydration. There we go. Okay, that's better. I went and saw somebody that I have not seen ever, and that I have been waiting upwards of about 12 years to see. I saw Owl City live in concert, finally, after over 12 years of waiting. And that 12 years starts back when I was in high school. I had heard before that, somewhere 2009, 2010-ish, of this song called Fireflies, but I had never heard it in my life. And I've told this story many times, but I will give a quick recap. Fireflies, the song, which I'm sure all of you have heard, you would not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies, that song, which, by the way, has hit Diamond as of recording this podcast. Diamond being, it's sold like 50 million copies or something like that. I don't remember exactly the tiers between like platinum, triple platinum, quadruple platinum to diamond. It's hit Diamond. That's all you need to know. So that song hit Diamond. Cool. It was the night that I discovered the furry fandom. I had found a video on YouTube while I was doing my little research about furries and fursuits and whatnot. I came across a YouTube video of a fursuiter with a moving jaw lip syncing to Fireflies. To those of you who want to hear the whole story of how I found the furry fandom, you can look in the link in the description. I will link it there, talking about my entire story of how I discovered the fandom. Anyway, the fursuiter goes by the name Electro Fox, who is a good friend of mine, so shout out to you, Electro. Love you. And he was just sitting in front of a camera, lip syncing to Fireflies. This is back when YouTube's copyright laws were a little more lenient, so you could put whatever darn song you wanted on the platform, and they did not care. I immediately fell in love. Two things I fell in love with that night were fursuiting, and Fireflies, and Owl City as a band. From there, I went on two different tangents: the Furry fandom and Owl City. I love Owl City to death. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. Well, favorite people because it's one guy, Adam Young. And fast forward 12 years later, here we are, finally getting to see Owl City in person. So, I showed up at the venue. There was a street preacher outside. Cool, whatever. I get there early. I park. I go in the venue. Standing room only. And here's the thing about standing room: you have to stand your ground throughout the entire concert. Otherwise, you will get shoved around or shoved to the back. I stood in that spot for about 4 hours, through the opening act, through the concert, all the way walking to my car to go home. And mind you, this concert started at around 7 o'clock, 7:30, lasted until about 10:30. I had a 2-hour drive home, and I had to be getting on a plane in the next 2 hours, or the next 6 hours, rather. That night, concert was amazing. Everything exceeded my expectations. Adam is a true musical genius in his own right. I highly recommend seeing Owl City or listening to their music. Also listen to Port Blue and Sky Sailing, side projects of his. Absolutely blown away by the concert. It was spectacular. I'm seeing Adam up there with a cellist and a drummer, and those three guys only. Adam's playing most of the music himself through like synthesizer, tambourine, drums, piano, everything. He's playing guitar, everything. He's making the music happen before your eyes, and it was beautiful. He played most of my favorite songs, including some oldies that were like from his very first album back in 2007. And funny enough, I do have a video of me singing to one of the original songs that he wrote. And I was like one of two or three people in the entire venue singing that song from way back because nobody else really knew it. So if that tells you how much I love the band, then there you go. I was on cloud nine when I left. It was amazing. I would go back and see it 10 more times if I could. So, Adam, thank you for your music, and thank you for deciding to tour again, because holy crap, that was an amazing show. So, life goal achieved. I saw Owl City in person. Back to the chaos that is, well, actually the insanity that is my decision to do that. The reason being was I had gotten these tickets this past March. They went on sale. I jumped on them immediately, purchased, done, good. And then I began to think, oh, wait a second. This show is in September. When is Megaplex? So I researched it real quick, like 2 weeks prior to the concert, and I was like, holy crap. The show is literally the night before Megaplex. Ain't that something? So I made the executive decision to go to the concert still, because I wasn't going to forfeit that to save my life, and go see it, go back home, have a friend of mine pick me up at my house with my fursuit and everything, throw it in his car, drive to my other friend's house. We spend the night there, 2 hours of sleep, and I promise you it was 2 hours because we had to get up around like 3 in the morning so we could pack up, get to the airport, and leave for our flight at 6:30 in the morning. Oh, that was I would not recommend that ever. Anyone do that. Somehow it seemed to work. So we're sitting in the airport. Thank you. Shout out to Dante for driving me, by the way. Driving us, I should say. Me and Ty Tiger were the ones traveling together. We get on the plane and we do our best to get some sleep. Thankfully, we only had one layover in New York City. We get there. I had never been to New York City. I've been to New York State, but never the city. We landed at LaGuardia Airport, got off. I saw the city from above. It was beautiful at 10 o'clock in the morning, or about 8 o'clock rather. We get off the plane. We load into our next plane, and off we go to Orlando, Florida. I am getting pretty dog tired at this point. Yet I'm having to shuffle myself, and Ty's having to shuffle himself through the airports and through the checks, through TSA, through all that good stuff. We grab our bags. It's about maybe 10 o'clock at this point in the morning. We call an Uber, which was a Tesla, which I had never ridden a Tesla, so there's another first. We get driven to the Hyatt Regency Orlando, in Orlando, Florida. Immediately, we jump out, and the valet staff, the car hops, basically, um, in front of the hotel, they welcome us. Like, one guy is already excited to see us. He sees our furry stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you guys here for the convention?" We're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Man, this is so cool that furries are here. We're glad to have you guys." We're like, "Thank you." And then he starts making small talk with us. This one valet, is just saying things like, if I had a persona, and he said persona, if I had a persona, I would be like a neon possum. And we're like, oh, that's pretty cool. So we chatted it up with him for a bit. He offered to take our bags. We were like, no, that's okay. And we unload. He says, you guys enjoy the convention. We're glad you're here. We say thank you. And then Ty and I are immediately like taken aback by that statement. Just like, wow, man, the staff at the hotel is already excited that we're here. This is insanely awesome. So we go in, we check in. Thankfully, they let us check in early. Thank God they let us check in early because we would have been standing there for a long time. I want to say it's about 11 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock p.m. by this point. We get checked in, we go up to the room, and we're just absolutely enamored. Like, we're walking through the hotel space. It is a beautiful hotel. To those of you convention nerds out there, Megaplex has been going for over 20 years. It is Florida's only furry convention, as far as I know. I'm not sure if there are any others, but as far as I know, that is Florida's only furry convention. And the previous few years, we've met at the Carib Royale in Orlando, Florida, which has unfortunately decided to, within the last year, decided to end its contract with Megaplex. And this is all alleged. I don't know if this is true, but from what I heard, the reason that they had ended their contract, the previous hotel, the Carib Royale, has ended its contract with Megaplex is because one of the family members of the Carib Royale hotel, so I guess it was like the owner's daughter-in-law or something like that, was uncomfortable with the furries being there. Again, this is all alleged. I don't know if this is true. This is just what I heard. So Megaplex decided to go its own way and find a new hotel. Well, this hotel, they really did their homework. They had huge convention space, and I'm talking like one big wraparound. They had enough rooms for every single panel, for the dealer's den, for main stage, which was perfect for raves. They had a freaking grand piano in the foyer area in the convention center, which was used all weekend. I heard Piano Man. I heard Hotel California on a piano. I heard Welcome to Black Parade. I heard the Peanuts theme, the Charlie Brown theme, which I'll get to in a minute. And oh man, that was it was such a perfect fit. Like, they had an internal market where you could buy food and drinks. The elevators sucked because it's a furry convention. It wouldn't be otherwise if the elevators weren't slow. And yeah, just the space was absolutely gorgeous, with Art Deco, with big windows, escalators, you name it. It had every single thing that a furry convention is looking for. And they really delivered on their promise that they are going to find a new hotel. So, Ty and I get up to the room, we're unpacking, and I am so excited. I'm just ready. Like, I'm ready to suit up already and get going, like get fursuiting already. You get that itch. To those of you who are con attendees, you know what I mean. Like, to those of you who are attendees and fursuiters, you understand what I'm saying. You get that itch just to fursuit. Like, I just need to fursuit. I need to get in suit. I want to suit up. Like, I'm already getting that itch. So I'm unpacking, and I discover something unfortunate. I reach into my bag and I pull out my pair of fursuit glasses. Fursuit glasses, shout out to you. Based in Ohio, so much respect to you, sir. And the glasses that I pull out of my bag that I had bought the previous Megaplex last year were broken. TSA had broken my glasses, and I was not happy. Now, granted, I did make the boo-boo of stuffing them in my bag, thinking that they would be safe instead of putting them in my carry-on, where I knew they would be more safe. But I don't know what possessed me to put them in my checked bag. But I guess we have lapses in judgment sometimes. Thankfully, I had super glue because every fursuiter needs a repair kit, a sewing kit with super glue in case accidents happen like this. So I glue them back together, and I'm like, okay, we're good to go there. We head downstairs. We just start checking the space out. We're walking around. We are just absolutely enamored by the space. We head downstairs and we meet up with Ty's mate, Hunter. Shout out to you, Hunter, for setting up the hotel and getting us all situated in that. And he arrives with his family because he had been visiting with them. Excuse me, hiccups. And we immediately afterwards go to registration. We stand in registration. I'm standing there for about 2 hours because I'm the third tier sponsorship. Bronze basically went with the registration tiers. It went regular registration, bronze sponsor, silver sponsor, and gold sponsor, which are brand new for Megaplex. My roomies, Ty and Hunter, were silver sponsors, so they got to jump the line very quickly. And I was left standing in line for the next 2 hours. But you know what? I didn't care. I was at Megaplex. I could have stood there for 3 hours and been fine. So, line's moving slow. Furries being furries. They're chanting big balls in the line, so it's already great. I'm leaving my stickers on the table as I'm passing by them, and they are being swept up by people behind me, which, is a nice little thought. Get into registration, get all my badges and whatnot, my swag, and I leave, and I go back up to the room and suit up, because I wasn't wasting any more time. First night of suiting was amazing. I got to give hugs. I got to make video or do some video. I got to and this is Thursday night, by the way, and I still hadn't slept very much, but I had that con energy just like coursing through my veins, just ready to go. So I first suited. We had a great time first night. Had some dinner. We saw a couple panels, and it was a great time first night. So, let's see. The next few days kind of all ran together. Like, that's how you know that you're having a great time at a con. I fursuited pretty much every single day that con for many hours. I got to meet up with friends. I got to see some panels that I wanted to see. I got to go swimming in the pool, which, by the way, the hot tub there was like 1,000 degrees, so we were literally making furry soup. It started to downpour rain. I left my glasses out in the pool area because I'm a dingus, and it was a great time. Let's see. I got to meet some people that I've been wanting to meet, and unfortunately didn't get to meet some that I didn't get to, sadly. But nevertheless, it was still a wonderful time. Got lots of video, met lots of people, caught up with some people that I'd been missing for a long time. Got to see some of my longtime friends, which was an even bigger treat. And let's see, Dealer's Den was absolutely enormous, and the way it was set up was beautiful. They had everybody spaced out real nice. Although I do kind of wish that the artist alley was a little bigger. That's just my opinion. I ended up going like $50 over budget ish to getting the stuff that I wanted and then I saw. I got a number of t-shirts. I love t-shirts. I got some pins, some keychains. I got some badges from Mary Mouse, so thank you, Mary Mouse, for that. The certified badges, in case any of you are not familiar. Certified this or that. Sadly, I didn't get to find any outdoor feet paws because mine are currently falling apart. So I need to get those at some point, but... So went a little over budget in the Dealer's Den, but hey, That's what you got to do, right? It's FurryCon. Might as well splurge a little bit. So, Dealer's Den was great. Let's see. The fursuit parade was amazing. We had over 900 fursuiters. The charity was absolutely insane. I went to Floor Wars where somebody donated $10,000. Some random donor just donated $10,000 to charity, which was insane. And all in all, the charity for Megaplex brought in about $88,000 for charity, which is holy crap. I cannot believe that we all pulled together and got that much money for our charity, which the charity was a Street Dog Coalition, or Coalition, however you say it. It helps homeless people and their pets. So I'm hoping that that money will go to help as many homeless people and their pets as possible. Um, the charity was absolutely speechless. They had no idea what to even say, and I would be in the same position if I were them. Like they did not know what to even think with that donation. Like $88,000. And by the way, Megaplex garnered about 5,100 people, which is a record number for Megaplex attendees. And 5,100 people divided by, well, 88,000 divided by 5,100 is somewhere roughly $17 per person, which that is still like unfathomable to think about. So that was really heartwarming. I think some of us were crying at the closing ceremonies because we couldn't believe that that much was indeed raised for charity. I couldn't believe it either. I got to maid raid, which was even cooler. I got to be a maid. I got to I got to interact with some other furry YouTubers, which was fantastic. I got to see some cool dances, dance competition, floor wars, like I said. Um, and yeah, just it was overall just a dream of a weekend. Definitely one of my highlights of cons this year. As far as cons are concerned, my top three cons currently, like as far as favorites go, number one being Anthrocon, number two is Megaplex, and number three is Motor City FurCon, aka MCFC. So those are my top three currently. And Megaplex, in my opinion, this was their best year yet. So thank you, Megaplex, for putting on an absolutely amazing year. Thanks to all the hotel staff and con staff and volunteers. Thanks to the very accommodating services at the hotel, like the market and the housekeeping staff for keeping us clean, literally. And I'm so glad that you all at the Hyatt Regency Orlando were able to host us for an entire weekend. By the way it sounds, we'll be there next year, and I intend to go next year. The theme for Megaplex this year was Be Anything, Do Anything, which I think was very fitting. So in this case, we all got to be fluffy animals for an entire weekend. So very, I'm very pleased with the outcome. I'm pleased with my experience. I'm pleased with just overall having a great weekend. So thank you all for making it as such. And I want to put it out there real quick. Those of you who are listening to my podcast right now who have supported me on my main channel with the ASMRs and the live streams, I was able to meet some of you. Like I had an interaction face to face with some of you in person. Some of you pointed me out when I was out of suit. You saw my badge and you were like, I like your videos. Some of you came up to me, asked for a picture. Some of you came up to me and just said, I really like what you do. I appreciate you and I love your videos. Thank you for being you. And I was able to have that interaction with all of you and just hug you and say thank you. So to those of you who came up, if you're listening, if you came up to me during Megaplex, I want to thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you for making yourself known. Thank you for just saying hi to me. Thank you for taking pictures, for the kind words that you gave to me. That was one of the biggest highlights of my convention, and That's something I will never forget the rest of my life. You all are such sweethearts, and I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, you all are the reason why I do this. You all are the reason why I continue to do this and showing your love and support consistently. And I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your support and your love continuously. You have no idea what it means to me. That's something I'll never forget. Also, people like the Care Bear backpack that I had, so thank you for that. Um, yeah, so I mentioned the Peanuts theme. So at the second Fursuit Parade, which is a tradition that Megaplex does, the main Fursuit Parade is on Saturday afternoon, and the second Fursuit Parade is on Sunday night. I got to participate in both of them, so thank you for whoever was playing the Peanuts theme, because I love Charlie Brown, I love Snoopy. Snoopy's one of the reasons I'm a furry, and I'm thankful for that, because that was the perfect like exit music to the second Fursuit Parade. I really appreciate you. Um, there was a bit of humor that happened during the last rave on Sunday night. Um, it was the one of the last sets. I don't remember who the DJ was who played that night. Like one of the last sets of the night. This was during the Dead Dog Dance on Sunday. Um, there was a point we were all raving, having a good time. I was dancing in my maid outfit, and then all of a sudden, like the music, the volume of the entire room of the DJ set just like cut like 50%. The volume went down like 50%, and we all just like stopped, and we were looking around and like, what just happened? And then we started shouting, like all of us started shouting, like, turn it up, volume's too low. And here's the thing, me being on stages before, I have performed on stage before, I have been on stage during a live performance, and the thing is, when you're on stage with a bunch of music playing, you cannot hear a thing out in the audience. People yelling and screaming, you cannot make out what they're saying, let alone somebody wearing headphones, which the DJ was. Ironically, the DJ queued up a song with the title Turn It Up. So literally the DJ had queued a song called Turn It Up, and us all shouting Turn It Up was his signal to be like, oh yeah, that song's coming up. They know it. No, we were saying it for a completely different reason. The song started to play, and we could hear the lyrics of the vocals saying "Turn it up," and we were like, "No, not the song, the volume." So the DJ took his headphones off again, and then I think he started to understand what we were saying, and then he was like shrugging, and he was like testing out different things on his pad there, and he finally hit the volume, and it turned all the way up again, and we were just like, yeah, and that was it. So the most ironic things happen at furry conventions, I swear. The fact that he queued up a song named Turn It Up, and we're all shouting Turn It Up, literally. Ugh, yeah. I don't get why stuff like that happens. So that was fun. And then one of I think the scariest experience of this entire convention happened on Sunday, believe it or not, as well. This is earlier in the day. I was fursuiting most of the day, and I was going back up to my room with a friend to take a break, and a bunch of us piled in the elevator. As I mentioned, the elevators kind of sucked. They were pretty slow. There were points where we were waiting almost 15 minutes for the elevator to arrive upstairs. And we all piled in the elevator to go up. It started going up very slowly, and then it hit free fall mode. Like, it had dropped from like the 7th floor down to the 3rd floor, like free fall style. Like, what? Like, it just fell. I kid you not. There was like maybe 10 of us in the elevator, and it just started falling. Like 3 floors, 4 floors. We all freaked out. My friend like jumped on me and just like hugged me real tight, like thinking we were gonna die. And I felt, that like gulp feeling that you feel when you're falling. It's just like goes up into your neck, and it's just like that was what it felt like. Like, and thankfully, thank God for modern elevators having brakes, because the elevator hit the brakes, and we all just kind of went "Ugh!" Like it like had brakes right on the third floor, and it just stopped, and then it coasted us all the way back down very slowly to the lobby where it started. The doors took like a few minutes to open. Some of us started to panic a little bit. Thankfully, the doors opened and we all piled out like, like a bunch of teenagers, just like, just like we ran out of the elevator. Like, nope, 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 nope. And we my friend and I promptly decided to head to the other elevator across the way, like further down, and we took that one instead. Thankfully, that one had no issues, and we were able to get up to my room safely. So that's another experience I'll never forget. Unfortunately, during that weekend, as far as I know, the only emergent situation that happened was the fire department had to come and open the doors to let some people out who were stuck. I don't know how long they'd been there, but the fire department was called one night to get them unstuck. So that was the only real issue I heard about. I don't think there were any ambulances. I don't think there were any cops called or anything like that. There were police present, and they were checking out room parties that were quote unquote too loud. And I was actually in a room party where the cops did show up. That's another portion of the story. And the cops did not care. They were like, you know what? It's not that loud. You guys keep having fun. And we're like, really? And they're like, yeah. The cops were really cool. Like they did not give a whit about how loud it was or how loud people claimed it was. So cops were cool. We were able to continue partying and having a good time. So thank you, Orlando Police, for being cool. Thank you for allowing us to continue partying. So, wow, I'm already 31 minutes into this and I'm rambling like there's no tomorrow. I'm just still excited from this con, I'll tell you what. But yeah, overall, it was an amazing experience. And I highly recommend anybody to check out Megaplex next year, because it's going to be the theme of next year's Megaplex is going to be Dungeons and Dragons. If you all like Dungeons and Dragons, you should go check it out. Megaplex.com. Go check out the layout. Go check out what's planned ahead. And hopefully I'll see you there next year. So, that was Megaplex. And I am so thankful I got to go. I'm thankful that I got to enjoy it. I'm thankful that this is my third year in a row attending. So, again, thank you all who made it as amazing as it was. I really appreciate you. One of the things that I want to bring up, the plane travel in particular. I have something of a weird tradition when it comes to plane travel. Every time I get on a plane, I settle in, I get my earbuds, whatever, but I have to have them cranked up to like 100% in my ears, because that's the only way to fly. I queue up two different songs, one for takeoff and one for landing. The first song that I play on takeoff is Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Any of you Top Gun fans out there, you know what this is like. It's such a vibe, just like listening to Danger Zone and just like taking off into the air. Every time it gives me chills, and I will continue to do that probably the rest of my life. The second song that I play is upon landing the plane, is Helter Skelter by the Beatles, because Helter Skelter is just a fancy way of saying you're descending in a very crazy manner. I'm pretty sure that the song is about a slide, but in this case, descending in a plane, it really does give off the perfect vibe of just like descending back down to earth, landing, helter skelter, coming down fast. Yeah, so that's another Goosebumps song that I recommend for any flight travelers out there. So, upon takeoff is Danger Zone, and upon landing is Helter Skelter. It really hits different when you put those two songs together. Um, One of the interesting stories that I have for the flight travel in particular was on the second flight after our layover from New York into Orlando. To those of you who have never flown before, there's a very particular set of ethics on a plane, and one of those is bathroom etiquette. Now, when you go into this locker sized lavatory on the plane, one of the things that you're supposed to do is lock the door, which you would think, oh, that's easy enough. Like, that's common sense. Who wouldn't lock a door on a bathroom? Well, this poor lady, I don't think she realized how the lock worked on the lavatory. I saw her go in. I had perfect line of sight to the bathroom. Um, I saw her go in the lavatory, and then I saw the handle like being jiggled, like she couldn't figure out how to lock the door, and the vacant sign was still on, like it was still green, as if it was available. I was like, oh no. So after a few minutes of her struggling with the lock, I could see the door handle moving, and it eventually stopped. Like, but it's still green. Like she didn't lock the door, and I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good. About 5 minutes go by, she's still in there, the light's still green, and I'm just like, oh Lord, please don't let anybody walk in that bathroom. Uh-oh. Well, finally, after about maybe 7 minutes, the light turns red. She had locked the door. Thank God, because literally 30 seconds later, and I mean like 30 seconds, like immediately after the door, she had locked the door, a gentleman had stood up and walked to the lavatory door and pulled on it and realized it was locked. Whew. Big sigh of relief. So glad she figured it out. I'm glad that she didn't just accept that it was busted, maybe, or like couldn't lock. No, she saved herself a lot of embarrassment right there, including the gentleman. She saved the gentleman a lot of embarrassment as well by taking the time to figure it out. So, shout out to you both, you two strangers, whoever you are. If you ever listen to this, you probably don't remember at all, but yeah, that was an interesting people watching experience. The other story that I have is actually not my story, but it is in fact worth mentioning. So the second flight back from the layover from New York City to Cleveland Hopkins Airport in Ohio, there was a lady behind us on the flight who had misplaced her iPhone. Her iPhone, I guess, upon landing, had slid out of her hand or off of her lap. I'm not exactly sure, but it had basically taken a dive, and it went somewhere in front of her on the plane. So once we landed, she stood up. She was like, "Does anybody see an iPhone? Anybody see an iPhone? Can you look under your bags, please, to see if there's an iPhone?" And I was like, "Oh, there's no iPhone here." She asked me and Ty, who were sitting in the same row, and there was no iPhone. Well, Ty's mate, the lovely Hunter, was sitting up front, well, in front of us, rather, in one of the comfort seats, and uh, she was so frantic in looking for this iPhone that she had pushed Hunter out of the way, like literally shoved him out of the way to look for an iPhone, this dumb iPhone, and he was just kind of like, excuse me, there's no iPhone here. I could have told you that, but no, she opted to shove him out of the way, very rudely. I don't think she even apologized to him or made eye contact with him. So my apologies to you, Hunter. Thankfully, the iPhone was found and all was well. So we're good there. It didn't fall off the plane. We're fine. The iPhone was found, but still, it was very rude to push him like that. So, lady, if you're listening, just remember there are other people on the flight. That's all I have to say. Um, that's something I'll never forget. There is an interesting, little tidbit that I have, in particular with one of the badges that I bought from Mary Mouse. So as I said before, Mary Mouse is the artist of those certified badges. So sometimes you'll see certified con goer, certified dog, certified cat, whatever. Like you can wear those on your badge, and it's really cute. It's like I'm a certified hybrid. I'm a certified whatever. And it's actually a really good idea. And she's been selling these for years. I love her badges, and I will continue to buy them for as long as they are relevant to me. I found a badge, and I bought it. And the badge reads Certified Red with an exclamation point because those of you who know, my fursuit is red. I am red. Interesting story. Red, the color, used to be my least favorite color of all. I used to not like red at all. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't my type of color. I always liked blue. I always liked black and like every shade of blue and like that type of color. Black because I was an emo kid. I still am on the inside. But I bought this red badge and it made me think, I wonder how this happened. I wonder how I got to like red so much. And it's probably biased because of my persona, but uh, it's just interesting to me that I'm like all about red now, whereas I didn't used to be. And I think that goes back to my childhood. You see, growing up, I have an older brother. I'm the youngest. I only have one brother. My brother's favorite color was red. My favorite color growing up was blue. So, being brothers, you tend to be competitive. So, we would often have debates about which color was better growing up because when you're a kid, you don't have much to look forward to and you don't have much to do. So, what do? You debate with your older sibling. We had full on debates about which color was better. Blue's better, no red, no blue, and so on and so forth. I was team blue, always. Always. And he was always team red. He had red stuff. He had red clothing. His first car was red. Um, yeah, he just loved red. And I always had blue stuff. Nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to your preference. But now I am full on team red. I think the reason I didn't like red so much is because, spite of my older brother, I'm pretty sure that is the psychological reasoning. But now I am all about red. Probably, again, biased because of my persona. Which is another interesting story. My first persona draft of Samson was actually brown. It was brown, like dirt brown. And I remember coloring him for the first time. And I had this really old Acer laptop. Like, it was circa 2005, probably. And that's what I used a majority of my high school years because I couldn't afford anything better. It was a hand-me-down laptop from my grandma, rest in peace. Um, and that was the computer that I first colored my persona on, my first ref sheet. It was one of those color it your own ref sheets, and it was like a flat color, like a flat line art type thing. You could just color it in Microsoft Paint. So that's what I did. And I chose brown, or at least I thought I did. Um, the color scheme of that laptop wasn't the best. So what I was actually doing was coloring him kind of a crimson red. And it wasn't until I got a new computer that I loaded that ref sheet onto that computer and realized he's red. He's not brown, he's red. And I was like, huh? So this whole time I thought I was making him brown when in fact I was making him like really dark red. And ever since then I just went with it. Like, he looks a lot better red. My first fursuit, my 1.0, is actually brown. And my 2.0 is, which my current suit is crimson red. So it's interesting seeing them side by side because, hey, you know what? I think red is better. So accidentally making him red was probably the best the best accidental decision that I've ever made. Go figure, right? So, a little tidbit for you. Never thought that would happen. Let's see. I'm being a nerd. I'm reading my notes because I wrote down a lot of stuff for this podcast. I think I've covered pretty much everything. It's interesting. Also, I brought this up to my roomies. It's really interesting when you go to an airport because you see people literally at an airport from all over the world. You see them from different countries, different states. You see them from different walks of life. And I always find myself doing double takes at an airport because I'm constantly thinking that I see someone that I know. Like it could be someone who looks like somebody else, could be somebody who they have a resemblance to somebody that you know. It's really, really something. So I saw somebody who I thought looked like my brother. I saw someone who I thought was a childhood friend of mine. I saw somebody who looked like one of my parents. It's really an interesting phenomenon. It's almost like your brain wants to see those faces. And when I saw my brother in that one person, it made me realize how much I missed him because my brother and I are a lot closer than we used to be. Shout out to you, brother, if you're listening. Um, and I haven't seen him for a number of months now because he has moved states since I believe May or June. And yeah, it just got me to thinking. I miss my brother. I really do. Thankfully, I'll be seeing him in the next couple weeks, but still, it's something. It's really something to see your family members in that different state. The different state that you're used to. So that's something that I won't forget either. It's something that I think happens to a lot of people, yet we don't really think about it. I think the point is keep your family close, keep those you love close to you, and never forget them. Tell them you love them now, and because you never know when they won't be there. You know. So nice little life lesson there. Um, I came back from the con on Monday. I got home around 9:30 after traveling all day. I was super tired. I ended up going to sleep pretty early and I went into work the next day. And let me just say, these last 2 days of work have been absolutely chaotic. I It's almost like time froze and I it went into hyperdrive the minute I got back because everything was hitting like at the same time, and I'm still not caught up with all my stuff at work. Excuse me. So I'm not looking forward to the last 2 days of the week, being that they are going to be jam packed full of ketchup stuff. Unfortunately, not the tomato kind. So I was able to make some dents today. I'm pretty proud of myself, but the next 2 days are gonna suck. I know it. And my here's the thing: when you work a job, you want them to miss you. Like you want them to be fond of your services. So when I got back, two people took the time to tell me that I was missed and that basically I'm never allowed to leave again. So I guess my solution is, hey, I'm just gonna never take vacation again. How's that? I mean, obviously can't do that because I got to go to conventions, but it's also interesting that all my vacation time is used for furry conventions, which I have no problem with. I personally don't like to take full weeks off. Like, I just think it's too much. A weekend here, a weekend there throughout the year, I'm okay with that. I don't mind going away for a weekend for a convention, and I don't mind doing it. It replenishes me. It helps me to have fun and disassociate with reality for a little bit and just be a big fluffy animal. Overall, I am thankful. I am very grateful for this past weekend. I'm grateful that I get to do this. I'm grateful that I get to interact with some of you that watch my videos in person. I'm grateful for this fandom. I'm grateful that the furry fandom has given me so much to look forward to, so much to interact with and do. It's because of the fandom and all of you in it that are supportive. Even if you're hearing this for the first time, it means a lot. And I am overly thankful for just all that it has given me. So, God bless the furry fandom. We all are weird and crazy and dysfunctional, and we bring our own selves to the table, and I would not have it any other way. This fandom is very diverse, and it's very much a treat every single day. So I'm very happy to be part of this fandom. So I will continue to be a part of it for as long as I can. Well, this one felt like 2 minutes, but it was definitely worth the 50 minutes that I've been talking. So Um, I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to listen to me ramble about a furry convention, about plane travel, my job, and all that good, juicy details that I put in here. And as always, I want to leave you with a very special message. At the end of every single one of my videos, at the end of every single one of my video descriptions, you'll see a Latin phrase. And that Latin phrase is Sic Parvis Magna. And it is a Latin phrase that translates to greatness from small beginnings. No matter where you are now, always remember where you came from. Remember the people that brought you up. Remember those who were there for you to get you to where you are today. Never forget your humble beginnings. Never forget your origins. Because one day you're going to look back and you're going to say, I used to be over here, way back there, and now I'm here. And it's all the people and all the experiences that I had over these years that got me to where I am today. And I encourage you to be grateful for that. Be the situation's good or bad, you are here for a reason. And for that, I say, always be you. Because there has never been anyone else like you in history. There is nobody like you today, and there never will be anybody like you in the future. There's only one you, and you are unique and special in all of your own ways, and nobody can do things the way that you can. So no matter what, always be you. Be yourself no matter what. You are loved, and you are cherished. Fulfill your purpose, and go out and live your life to the fullest. And to throw in another Latin phrase, carpe diem, seize the day, and suck the marrow out of life. Live each day as if it were your last. Amor fati and memento mori. Going all Latin this podcast. Wow. All right. And that concludes this edition of the KittyFoxCast. Again, thank you all for listening, and thank you all for your continued support. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in today. Until next time, this is Samson Kitty Fox, and I appreciate every single one of you and every minute and second that you put into supporting this content, this channel, my other channel, and for these many years of being on this platform and many others. I appreciate you for who you are. But for now, I'm going to be signing off. Have a good night, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are listening to this. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Bye-bye. Sic Parvis Magna.